you can start soft, mentally soft, but you can learn how to be tough. I truly think so. And that comes from discipline and putting yourself in really tough situations to be able to overcome it. And Coach Dunn did that with us all the time, and it feels so much better when you get that win after you've overcome that adversity. And that's kind of where you fall in love with the game, to me, is going through the tough things with your brothers, overcoming it, coming out on the winning side. And it just makes it feel so much better. You just have so much more gratitude that you went through it and came over the top. So now, I can get through anything. I can continue to push through anything. And like I said, and like Coach Dunn did it every day with us, the rest of the staff. I mean, there wasn't an easy day. There was never an easy day. They never took a day off. And I commend them for that. Because now that I'm on their side of it, I know there are days where you want to take a day off. It's tired. Just like the players, you're tired. It's hot. It's a long day, right? But if you take a second off, the players will double, right? So we they kind of taught me always be on my game, be on my game, be on my game. And like I said, it's paid off.
And playing quarterback, obviously, in that system, you have to be able to understand how to direct the team.
Mm-hmm.
He threw for a bunch of touchdowns in high school, and I remember that. It's that system is demanding on the quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So I think becoming a coach out of that system, there's definitely that opportunity, and just like Cravani coaches at, I think, Johns Hopkins, right?
Yep.
So
Yep. We were at Monmouth together 2 years ago.
Oh, you were? Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. He was about. That's right. Yeah. And obviously, Karate, if he wanted to go into business, he obviously could have easily gone into business. And I think that's something that you guys learned really well there. And it's really, really an interesting thing of what he instilled. Monmouth, talk. So you went, you played at Monmouth.
Mm-hmm.
Then you jumped into coaching at Towson State. So talk about, once you first really arrived at coaching in Towson State, what that was like now moving into coaching in college, not just being a player in college, but becoming a coach in college.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I was really, really lucky to get that opportunity. I emailed, so when I was on Wall Street, I kind of made that decision, and that I wanted to leave, and I started reaching out to my contacts that I knew, just basically all my former coaches, and see who they could reach out to, ask for any advice, get on the phone with different people. I emailed probably 150 different schools to try and see if they had anything, volunteer, whatever it took. And not many got back to me. So my offensive coordinator from college, he's now the offensive coordinator. He was a tight ends coach when I was at Monmouth. Jeff Gallo, he reached out to someone on the Towson staff, and he had a connection because he used to work at Monmouth, and they were looking for a defensive quality control coach that could come in as ASAP. And they were pretty desperate. So they took me because I had zero experience. I came in, and the defensive coordinator that I worked for, Eric Daniels over at Towson, him and he's like one of my biggest mentors right now. And we're very, very close now, but he tells me all the time after the first week of training camp, he wanted to fire me because I was in over my head. You think football until you get into coaching. And I tell my friends that all the time that never coach, they just play and they think they know all this. We knew nothing as players. I mean, I thought I was a pretty high football IQ level player. And I got into the room in my first defensive staff meeting. They were talking about cover 4 for 5 hours straight. And I could not fathom how that's possible, you know? But now if you want to talk cover 4, we can sit here till 2:00 in the morning and I'll do it with you all day. Cause there's all these intricacies to it. And I love it. Scheme is what I'm now like. I love the scheme game. I love the chess match. Like that's really where I really fell in love with the coaching aspect of it.
What made you fall in love with the chess match part of it? Because I think that's like, the X's and O's of like scheme this, scheme that. And like you said, all your friends, all those guys that think they know football, right? Because we all know the best coaches like sit in the stands on Friday night. Like when you throw it, they say run it. When you say blitz, they're like, why are we doing that? Right. So how did you kind of fall in love with that part of the game itself?
Well, for me, I'm a numbers guy, right? I'm a math guy. I like when pieces all come together to form a puzzle, right? And I like math because it's definite, right? 1 + 1 always equals 2, things like that. There's an answer. And in football, sometimes there aren't really good answers and you have to solve the puzzle.